Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rewinding Founders. My name is Adi, and today we're talking to Ophir Kagan, the founder of Maitri. Ophir started as a paramedic, moved into product management, leading a medical research unit, and her current startup was born out of her personal journey as a cancer survivor. In our conversation today, we'll talk about her passion for leveraging technology to build strong communities and provide meaningful support during life's most difficult moments, and how she's building exactly that today. So, Ophir, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today, Adi. This is such an amazing podcast. I think you're doing a real important mission, talking with founders and bringing this information out. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So, I think before anything else, I'd love to hear how did you go from being a paramedic to
So first of all, my career as a paramedic was a very early stage, and later I ran a research unit at a big hospital in Israel, and also was in product management, and I did many things. I think this is one of the best thing in life to try and do many things. I became an entrepreneur by mistake, almost like an accident when something I built at the research unit I worked in became a product and was given to me. And this technology was great and was pretty successful. And we actually sold it at some point. And later, I've been around doing many entrepreneur stuff. And I think at this point, I fell in love with it. I understood that this is something I want to do, I want to pursue. I had some failures, important. And a few years ago, as you said, yeah, very much. A few years ago, as you said, I had cancer. And during the cancer treatment, Maitri was born. It's actually a cute story. So I had cancer in my stomach. I had a tumor in my stomach, and I had to go through 8 rounds of chemotherapy at the beginning. And when I came back from the hospital, from the 7th treatment, the chemo treatment, I went back home and went to take a shower. I discussed it again, coming back from the hospital. And while I was standing in the shower, I thought I was crying, and I was thinking about, you feel very sorry for yourself at this moment. I was a very low point in my life, I have to say. And so during this shower, I was thinking that the thing I failed the most during my cancer, I'm doing this, but I absolutely failed this thing, is asking for help. I didn't know how to ask people around me to help me, to be there for me. And it's not like I don't have people. I am surrounded, I'm blessed with an amazing family, an amazing husband, and a lot of friends who were incredible during my treatment time, and so many people who wanted to be there for me and ask me continuously, what can they do? How can they help? And I just pushed them away. So I was in the shower, and then I put the towel around me, and I had the idea. And I screamed, Noam! I called my husband. And he came running because he thought I failed, or so I fell, or in the shower or something. He thought I was hurt. He was like, oh my God, what happened? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I have a startup idea. And he looks at me and he's like, are you crazy right now? What do you want from me? Go to sleep, go to get some rest. And he looked at me like I was crazy. But then I was like, you have to listen to this because I will forget this because I'm tired right now. And that was the first time I described Maitri to someone. And I described this idea of a collaborative task manager. And I told him, I think this is a thing I really need right now. And he was quiet. And then he was like, this is a really good idea. And I love my husband, but sometimes he kills my ideas. It's important, but sometimes he tells me this idea sucks. And he was like, yeah, it's a really good idea. And that was the beginning of this journey. Yeah, so that's me.
And can I ask the failures that you said you had before that? What happened?
Yes, of course. So there are a lot of reasons to fail. I think endless reasons, unlimited reasons to fail. For me, one was out of timing because I tried to establish a startup right when I was getting into the treatments, and this was a very bad idea. I had a good team, I had a good idea, but it was the very wrong setting. And I think this lesson would be in the right mindset as a founder. You have to have the mental space and mental calmness to get into a project. The other one was the very much wrong team. I have a very toxic two partners, and they led to something that was horrible for me as a founder. I had a horrible experience. I think choosing your co-founder correctly is a very, very important lesson to any founder. This is maybe the second most important relationship you have in your life as a founder, of course. And the third one was, well, it was out of scope for me, and I think the product market fit was very bad. I think I'm a product manager again, in my knowledge, and I think in my background, and I think I did not do enough product research in this one, which is maybe a good practical lesson. You have to have a very good product market fit. You have to check not twice, not 5 times, like a million times that you're building a product that someone actually wants, and not only maybe solving a problem, because solving a problem is not enough. You have to check that someone wants to pay to solve this problem. And also solving your own problem might not be enough because maybe not everyone has the same problem. When I approached Maitri, it was different. I learned my lesson, and I did many product market fits and many researches, and I still do. I think you're never done with it. I think even like a huge company is still doing this. I think Google and Facebook Meta are still doing product market research, and you're always optimizing this. And if you're not, you're failing something. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you see things that you're doing significantly differently with this company than the others?
Yes, 100% yes. I think you learn from every journey. In my set of beliefs, you learn from everything in your life, every encounter, every person you meet, everything you do, everything you do at work, everything you do at home, everything you do at all teach you something in life. And of course, failures teach you very much, and of course, success teach you too. I think I am doing things very much differently. I think, first of all, again, product market fit, I'm putting my feet down whenever we develop anything to check and check and check and check again and again and again that we're doing it the right way. But with a balance, of course, we do take some leaps. I think I choose my partners differently. I think as it gets going, I get more creative. I get more brave. I think you do have some, at some point you do feel like you're getting braver and braver because you have to. And you're also experiencing fail, and you learn how to fail. I think at this point, it would be very arrogant to say that I'm not affected by failures, but I think I'm learning how to fail better. And yeah, that's a good quality for that's an important quality for a founder.
Really necessary. You have to be a little crazy and a little open to fail. So
100%. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I was born a little crazy, but I learned how to on the way on the journey. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's
interesting. Do you think that now, you know what, I'm gonna go back to something you said. You said that you pick
of course.
co-founders differently.
Oh yeah.
People, like when they start something, that's one of the things that they struggle with a lot. Like who should be the co-founder, and then there's always, it seems to be there's two kinds of teams, like the teams that were brought together because of the startup and teams that two friends that wanted to build something and like What's your more persona like?
Oh, so let's talk about us, yeah. So first of all, at this startup, my co-founder, my amazing co-founder, her name is Yara. Yara and I met 7 years ago. We were traveling Southeast Asia, yeah, and we were both traveling on Vietnam. And we took my husband, when it was happening, he wasn't my husband yet, but back then, my boyfriend and I took a day trip with a guide, and to make it cheaper, he took four other Israeli girls. And we met them, and they were nice, and we kept in touch with them. And one of them was Yara. Actually, my husband stayed much more in touch with Yara. And she came along to Maitri. I started Maitri as a solo founder. Well, that part is a bit sad. I started Maitri at the middle of September 2023, and you can predict what happened next. So I woke up about a few weeks after we started the company. Myself and a brilliant designer, we started the company and then woke up to October 7th. And I was much needed in other places as a paramedic. And I was called to duty, and I left everything behind. And I said, okay, now is not a good time to do a startup. But when I finished my duty, my husband took me to New York, where we live right now. He took me for like a month to vent. This is crazy because most of the people in the world feel like New York is the craziest place in the world, but we find ourselves the calmest here. Yeah, you can maybe relate. You told me that you had your own experience with the city, and I think as crazy as it can be, it can be calming. So when we came here, we met Yara for like a friendly meeting, and I told her I have this dream about doing this startup, and she was like, well, maybe I'm the right fit for you to be. And she was just leaving her own work, and she was in the beginning of a new era in her life. She was searching. She was trying to figure out what she wants to do in general in life. And I think the idea of being an entrepreneur, was really magical to her. So yeah, this was it. At the beginning, you said that a lot of people are wondering, and this is a question I get a lot. How do you find the right co-founder? How do you find the wrong co-founder? How do you know is it? I will tell you what I tell everyone. You don't. I'm sorry to ruin this. You don't know. You have no idea. When you come into it, you have no idea. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it don't. I often ask these people, how do you find a partner, a husband, a wife? How do you choose your spouse? And the answer is I just know, and sometimes you just know. And the main thing I have to tell is that when I was in a toxic relationship with my co-founders, I knew it from beginning, and I just told myself, I have to do it. I have to try. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're in a toxic relationship in any kind of your life, you don't have to stay in a toxic relationship. Even if you feel like this is the greatest thing for, yeah, I hear parents say, I won't get divorced because this is the best thing for the kids. So if you don't get divorced as a co-founders, it's not the best thing for your product. You will be in a very bad place, and you will do bad things for your product. So this is my 2 cents about it. Today I was blessed with being with such an amazing co-founder. I think Yara and I balance each other. I think we make a great team because we're just a good fit. She brings the business side, I bring the product side, and the experience as an entrepreneur and as a cancer survivor. You don't have to have experience as a cancer survivor. Sorry. And I think this is a team that is really working for me. But yeah, you have to just try. You don't know.
It's interesting. I think it's a lot like how you don't really know how you're gonna meet like your significant other, but most people do. And it's like
Well,
if you want to build something and you need someone to build it with, just
just
like
go out and try. Yeah. Yeah, just go out and try. And also, I don't think that being a solo founder is the worst thing in the world. I know that you spoke with Noga, the amazing Noga, which I had the opportunity to meet. I love her so much, and I don't think it can be the end of the world. I think that you know when you want to do this journey with another person or two persons. I think you can tell. I think you can tell if you're ready to be a solo founder, if you want to be a solo founder. I think either ways are good if it's the right fit for you. That's it.
do you think there's like let's talk about the more emotional side of doing a startup. There's a lot of ups and downs, and it's very much like I would say all jobs have their own ups and downs, but when you're a founder, everything seems to feel very personal. It's like when you have a co-founder, you sort of
You have
think,
someone to share life with. I think you're right. I think you have someone to share the journey with. I will say that you have someone to share the failures with and cry together, not literally cry, but to be crushed together. And you do have someone to share the joy with, which can also be a very long moment when you come out of a meeting, a good meeting, or you close something, you have a very good success right now, and you want to have like a joyful moment, and you have no one to like yay with, and those moments are very important because you have to celebrate. As you said, it is personal in a startup, and you can feel like it's your own failure. First of all, it's not always. It's sometimes it is. It's not always. And second, I feel like this journey is filled with failures. It's filled with failures. Anyone who tells you otherwise is straightforward lying to you, because there's no one who just have success. No one. Sorry, no one. Even in my success story, in my previous startup, who did have some success, I still experienced a lot of failures on the way, and you still have bad meetings. You still have people who says no to you. You always have people who says no to you. There's no way to. Sorry. If someone tells you otherwise, he's lying to you. And you need someone to go through this with you. And first of all, balance you. Well, again, you don't need. I needed. I felt like this was very important to me, and yeah, is balancing me all the time. I think she does an amazing job, and I do believe I do this to her too. I really try to be there for her, and see when it's time for her. And sometimes it's time for both of us, and we are set together. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
well, what do you
Yeah.
think is a moment you had that was like, I did not think making a company, making a product is going to look like this? Like something that surprised you about being an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur. Okay. I think a lot of things surprised me about being an entrepreneur. I think the most surprising or depressing thing you have is that you think that being an entrepreneur, or being doing your own business, or in any kind of business, by the way, not only startups, you think that doing this means you don't have a boss. Well, you have boss. You have a boss. You have like 20,000 bosses. You have your clients and your customers and your investors, and deadlines are a big boss, and you have the product, and you have teammates, and you have co-founders can be your bosses, and you have so many bosses. And I feel like you have to try and balance these noises, and you have to remember that having a boss is not always bad, but getting into it, you have to be very aware that it's not gonna be like you think like oh no, oh yeah, I'm gonna be 100% no. I'm sorry to ruin this magical thought of not having a boss. But I feel like there are also some things that are exciting, different than I expected. I think entrepreneurship is a journey of curiosity, of learning something new every day, and that keeps amazing me. I love it. I think this is the most important thing when you become an entrepreneur, to keep being excited about things. Um, and I never thought it would be that much of an amazing experience of having, like, every day I learn something new, every single day, multiple something new.
It's super interesting. Is there a moment where you felt like, wow, this is such a good sign that, like, because I know that a lot of times you get these small wins that it's like someone from the, outside will see it and I mean, yeah, okay, like not a big deal, but inside you're like, oh my God, like this is what.
Yeah. I think at the beginning of this journey of Maitri, someone asked me if I'm building this company to be exited or to be IPO'd. And I answered, this one is my own personal journey. I'm building it to have one customer whose name is not Ophir, but she's basically an Ophir, that is telling me that her journey is much better because of this app. And I'm building this to look her in the eyes, metaphorically, because she's on her cell phone somewhere and I'm not with her, and know that I did something good here, and I did something that changed her life. So to your question, the very early days of launching the app, we had an amazing customer that gave us an amazing feedback and said that her mom actually doesn't forget to pick her from the treatment because of us now. And I think it was very touching. And I felt in this moment, I looked at Yara, my co-founder, and said, okay, we're doing something right. We have to keep doing this, and no matter what. And from the side, it might not be a huge win, but this is what I am for. This was the feeling that at this moment, this felt like my heart was exploding with joy. I think this is the kind of moments when you tell someone that your product is this, and they say, "Oh wow, I think I know someone that might help, or it just can help me." And at this moment, you say, "Okay, I'm doing something right."
How do you balance between, on the one hand, having as much impact as you can, but then also you're still a business. Like you have to.
Yeah, that's a good question. So many people say to you in the beginning, when you start your journey, that it is a very bad idea to pursue an idea that you are close to, that is your own personal thing, especially when it comes to diseases. And when you what they tell you is, when you try to fix your own personal pain, you put the business model on the side too much. And there are some true in this. I'm not saying when someone tells you something hundreds of times, there is some truth in that, but I feel like they are also wrong, because when you try to make impact and it's so important to you, you understand as someone along the way that you don't want to be a nonprofit, and because you don't believe in this. I don't believe in this business model as a model for us. So you have to make revenue to survive, and then you'll do anything for this business model to be achieved and work. And you'll try anything, which is also important. And I think at this point, yeah, this is where we are. We landed on something that is working for us, knock on wood. Don't say too much on startups, because yeah, that can fall apart really quickly. But I think at this point, we explored so much. The first year or so of the startup was basically exploring the business model, and it's also okay. Some startups go the opposite way. They find their impact on the way when they start with a very solid business model. They do have easier lives to raise money. But we can do it too. We've been doing it too. I think impact is one way to go. I don't think there is any wrong way here, but I think people that tells you that this can't be done. By the way, people that tells you this can't be done, anything like any this, they're usually wrong. Sorry to say. Every very very everything that is very edgy, like this no, this is yes. Uh, you know, everything is no, everything is yes is usually not true. You learned it hard way. We spoke about it before the recording. We spoke about B2C and how hard it is to do a B2C. People tell you don't do a B2C. B2C is awful. This is an awful business model. Yeah, they're right. It's awful, but it's not like it can't be done. It's just harder sometimes when you go the off way of
It's so
something.
interesting how like there's such a balance between, on the one hand, people are gonna give you their opinions, and it's gonna be a lot of like, even other entrepreneurs are gonna tell you things, even other successful entrepreneurs are gonna tell you things that might not be exact for you. But then you kind of have to know how to, okay, so let's give the B2C example. On the one hand, if you're doing B2C and someone tells you, I remember this from the very early days, this guy that is in he's like not exactly an investor, but that persona type,
Yeah, okay.
told us like you can't do B2C in Israel. And I was like let's leave aside the fact that I don't have to do it in Israel, but like I was just
Yeah.
I was so young in the process, I didn't even know what to say. So it was between um how much do I believe versus how much do I kind of push away. And at that time, I was like, that's just, yes, I can. And like, I couldn't at that time.
Okay, yeah, yeah. But I think yeah, this is a very gentle balance, and this is a very I think this is an important story because um, first of all, this is not the worst thing in the world that you believed in yourself that you can, even though you can't, and you probably couldn't, and that's okay. That's okay. You still tried, and I think the thing that you learn the most is to try and balance these outer noises that are very important, especially when you know who to listen to. This is also very important. Don't listen to anyone, and everyone in the world has their own opinion. And people tell you, sorry, but some bullshit that can I can believe. First of all, people tell you sometimes this is a very I think a Field of Dreams says, build it and they will come. And some people tell you among your journey, build a product and they build a good product and they will come. And this is, sorry to say, such a bullshit because it's not true. You have to do sales, you have to do marketing, you have to know your way, you have to have a good business model. You have to have so many answers beside a good product. You can build an amazing product. I mean, I've met people who made amazing products with a good market fit, by the way, which I include in a good product, and still failed because they didn't have this or this. So this is a very bad advice, in my opinion, from a very good movie, by the way. Field of Dreams is a good movie, but very bad advice for entrepreneurs. Um, I think some other advice can be that can be bad for you is any very specific one that might not be for you. If someone tells you you have to have a co-founder and you're Noga, then it's not true. If someone told me you can't do your own pain, I want to believe it's not true. And if I would listen to this advice, the specific one that might not always be the case, I feel like I would fail more. I feel like it would be in a bad situation for me. Yeah. So this can be my 2 cents on bad advices.
I think it's also there's a thing to say for one of the most important resources you have as a founder is like your mental stability, your, motivation, stuff like that. So sometimes you have to make mistakes just, to keep it
Yeah,
going.
100%, 100%, 100%. And you have to learn how to fail. I think, beside maybe resilience, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I think learning how to fail is the most important thing you can have as a founder. You have to know how to fail. You have to know how to learn softly. You have to know how to fast fail, by the way, and recognize that you're failing something, small or big, and just move on. And you have to not be so much into the failure that you're forgetting. First of all, you're forgetting successes, and second, you're forgetting to move on and like try something new. Yeah, I agree. Failure is one of the most important pillars of entrepreneurship.
Do you think you handle it now differently than in the beginning?
Well, first of all, I think I'm a different person. It's been almost 8 years. Oh my God. No, a bit less, but something around this area. And I feel like, of course, I'm a different person. If you think of my personal life beside entrepreneurship, I had to fight COVID as a paramedic. I had cancer. I had bowel cancer, and then I had to participate in a war in Israel. And I moved to New York. I moved myself and my husband to New York. I had many very different experiences in life, good and bad. Mostly bad, but I'm sorry. But I had many experiences, and I think I developed some new qualities from this. And of course, entrepreneurship changes you. Of course, if I was to begin now, the Ophir I am right now, I was doing everything differently. I know how to fail now. I have much more resilience. I feel like I developed this one along the way. And of course, you learn many things. I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think anyone can tell me something that would change me in the beginning. I think some things you have to experience on your own. You have to fail on your own. You have to success on your own. You have to everything. Um, but some things I could study in the beginning. I could educate myself, and I could listen to other people differently also.
Yeah, I completely agree with some things you just have to learn for yourself. And now I feel like sometimes I'm on the side of the person that needs to let someone else learn for themselves.
Sometimes you see someone and you have no, yeah, you see them and you're like, yeah, they're probably gonna fail with this. And sometimes it's important to them to fail. Yeah, sometimes it's important to them to fail, and sometimes I even see myself doing something, and I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna fail this, and yeah, okay. This can be tiny things like applying to a scholarship or a VC that you're not gonna make it, and you still have to try. And it can be a large thing like developing the very much wrong feature, and it also happens sometimes. But yeah, I agree. There's some people, you sometimes some of the situations you see someone and like, yeah, you have to fail now. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
and it's not in a good, and it's not in a bad way. It's yeah,
no, I
it's the best
agree
thing you
with
can wish
you
for them,
completely. I
and I
and
wish for them to success, but to succeed. But yeah,
I remember I felt it like the most. I was on the side of the person who was obviously going to make a mistake, and I was talking to this mentor that I had that was a CEO of quite a successful company. And I was talking to him and I was like, I have this idea to do this thing. And he was like, go for it. And then after a while, I realized that idea wasn't so great. And he was like, yeah.
I knew it from the beginning. Oh my God,
And I was like, why didn't you say anything? And he said, what, like, you wouldn't, so, like, what would you have learned if I told you don't do that thing? Like, nothing.
it wasn't my lesson to teach you. Yeah.
So, hard pivot. I'd love to ask you how, so like the last few years have been crazy, especially for Israelis. Um, And also, especially for you with, finding out the cancer, and how did you like manage, there's a lot of instability like in your own life, in the surroundings, and then you add more, I'm an
More
entrepreneur.
instability to your life. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like sometimes this choice is like taking a boat that is already sinking and just rocking it very hard. Yeah, yeah, this is fun. I'm kidding. So I think, first of all, a lot of the times the bad things that happen to me, a lot of the experiences that I have, and I feel like, by the way, many Israeli people and many people at all, when something bad happens to you, you find a way to develop resilience, and where that became very important to me. For me, it was learning lessons like ask for help. This was a very important lesson to me on the way, and I feel like those lessons came with me to entrepreneurship. Today, I'm working very hard to implement the idea that I'm spreading on my own. I'm telling everyone you need to ask for help when you're in a bad situation, and I'm working on asking for help in the startup, in my own personal, and not personal, in my own job life. And so, yeah. I feel like balancing this thing, um, it can be hard sometimes. I also, being a cancer survivor means that you suffer from a lot of physical side effects that stays with you. For me, it can be pain at some places on my body, and it can be brain fog was in the beginning. Right now, I'm much better, but it was hard to work with this, and you learn how to do it. You develop the resilience, and then when you acquire a very hard situation, you have so much stronger tools than anyone else. I feel like, for me, when I'm crushing something and I'm doing very bad, or for me when I'm in a very tight situation or very hard deadline, I stress less. I will say today, I stress less, because in the end, resilience is a muscle. You have to train it. You have to learn tools that help you with it. And I'm not gonna say that I'm a mastermind, and I'm not gonna say that I'm that's it. I'm perfect. That's my no, no way. But I will say that it is a muscle, and sometimes it can be very helpful that I have these tools in my back pocket. Um, yeah, that's about it.
Interesting. Do you think, like, what with your company now, how how confident were you in the beginning that obviously it's something that you want to exist, but did you think it was gonna grow to become the actual thing you do? Or was it like, how were you feeling back then?
No, I wasn't confident. I think every step of the way I was not confident. I think I'm not a very confident person in general. I gain confidence when I need to. When I know I have to do something, I'm more brave than confident. By the way, um, and I feel like this is a very gentle balance, because you need to be confident in yourself, but you do need to be brave, and you also, of course, need to be humble. Um, I think those three try to balance on like a swing, and sometimes it's very hard to balance them. I wasn't sure in the beginning. You have some signs, as we spoke before. You have some successes, tiny successes on the way, that signals you that you're on the right way. And I will tell something very awful to say. I knew from the very beginning of doing entrepreneurship at all that there is a very little chance that I'm gonna go back to be hired someone by someone. I will go back to working for someone, and it's not a bad thing. But just who I am. Um, I had an amazing job before. I had amazing jobs before. I don't think I was a misfit. but I think I find my job so much more interesting now, and I think I'm fascinated. And every day I'm learning something new, and every day I'm doing something that pushes me. And sometimes it pushes you to a good place, and sometimes it pushes you at the edge of a cliff, and it's also okay. Yeah, and I feel like this is one of the things that gives you confidence, because you say, okay, if this one fails, I'm not going to go through with the next one, because I feel like this is a good place for me. This is my instincts. This is my comfortable place. Is this horrible, uncomfortable place of entrepreneurship. Yeah, that's for me.
Interesting. Do you have any story that you remember that was like just something crazy that you did to get a client or an investor or a meeting, or just something that you thought to yourself, wow, I would have not experienced this if
This.
with this.
So being a B2C company teaches you a lot about client acquisition in a C client, which is so much different than a B client. And when you try and reach a C client, you're basically going to do flip-flops in the air into a ring of fire for them to notice you. Yeah. So we did a lot of crazy things. When I came to New York this round, I went into a meeting with my co-founder, and I told her we need to do a direct outreach. And she was like, "Okay, what were you thinking?" And we printed coloring books and distribute them in chemotherapy centers, and gave like coloring pencils as a way to distribute the app. And it was amazing. We got amazing responses because it was relaxing to the patients, and then they read about the app and they actually was like, oh, this can help me. This is a very good place to meet them. But on the way to this, because we have very little money, we were very cheap about printing this. We started printing them on many places, and then I ordered from Amazon a very large stapler with like a long stamp, and I started doing this, and nights after nights, my husband and I were flipping, folding coloring books here, and you do these crazy things at the beginning. I will say that I'm the daughter of an entrepreneur too. My dad, my amazing dad, has a company, and he was an inspiration for me along the way. And when I was as little as like 10, maybe 9 even, I do remember he has a hardware company, satellite transmitters, and I do remember going to work with him and folding boxes and putting stickers on the products, because you have to be very creative and do crazy things. But these are the stories that last with you. They're the nights that you remember in the end, and the crazy things that you did is like the most exciting ones in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I remember one of the products I tried creating, one of the ways we wanted to attract attention is going to this conference and leaving Rubik's Cubes with
Amazing.
QR, a tiny sticker of a QR that we put on like the
One
whatever.
of the cube.
Yeah, and it was like our goal was just to like put these in random places and just like put as many like we it was in another country and we flew with like 100, 200.
Let's try to explain this to the flight company. Why do I have a suitcase full of Rubik's Cube? Yeah, sure. I'm sorry, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just going to a conference and trying to attract the interest of people. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. It's just
yeah, 100%.
crazy. Wow, I love these stories of like who would have thought this is what I'd be doing. Crazy.
I agree.
Amazing. I think we're
It's amazing.
almost out of time, so I'm gonna ask you just one final question. And thank you so much, by the way, for this conversation. This has been
Thank
super fun.
you. Thank you for the opportunity again. I think you're doing amazing thing here. I think bringing these stories and bringing these testimonials and to light and bringing this conversation of the journey is not always easy, but you do have a lot to learn from people who did this. And this is a good chance to say that if someone is hearing this and wants to talk to me, I'm always available on LinkedIn, and I'm always here for new entrepreneurs and seasoned ones. Not that I have so much to give, but I do have some. So I'm always here.
Yeah, I think, and also we're gonna link your LinkedIn down below. So if anyone wants to reach out, definitely you should. I'm gonna ask you a final question, maybe even for yourself. If you could say one thing to yourself of the beginning of the journey and thing to yourself of age 40, let's put it that way. What are you saying?
Okay, I think I would say to my beginning self, I would say you are good enough and you can do it. And even when you can't do it, you can do it. You can fail. And you have your people. You have your amazing husband who's been with me. I can't believe he's with me for 15 years and he's there for you. Yeah, I got married to my high school sweetheart. And you have your parents and you have your friends and they love you and they will catch you when you fall, and you can do it. And what I would say to my 40-year-old, keep doing this. You keep exploring, keep being curious. I think it's the opposite side of it's not the opposite. It's like the complementary one for the beginning. Just keep on exploring, keep on being curious, because Dr. Seuss says when you go out to places, you require. I don't remember the exact quote, but when you try something new, when you explore, when you're curious, and you can do it. This is for everyone. I think you can do it. Even when you can, you actually can. This is you can just fail it, and this is also an important lesson for you. This is also, and for me too. Yeah, that's it. Adi, again, thank you so much for hosting me here today. It was such a pleasure to talk with you, and you're incredible.